Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a look here at waves and see kind of what's going on and give you an understanding of how many more waves this is going to make in the market. Sorry, terrible attempt at a pun, but regardless of the fact, waves is obviously making some pretty big moves, and we want to understand that and kind of look at that, help you, just recognize best practice and what might actually happen next, because there's a lot of specifics that actually do occur when prices are approaching their all-time high. But we'll talk about that here today. Now, if you're not new to the channel, or if you are new to the channel rather, feel free to consider subscribing. Check out my trading academy and community that I have where I send out signals for every trade that I take, teach you to become a better trader. CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. Now, taking a look here at waves though, what I want you to do is kind of understand a few things. First of all, let's look at the kind of the standard stuff here. We can see a pretty significant golden cross here forming with the 50, intersecting with the 200. That could continue to push the price action higher. Now, to me, I personally prefer to see that on the the Bitcoin chart, but when it comes to coins like this that have been moving independent of Bitcoin, they have their own fundamentals and their own technical data that really is separate from Bitcoin altogether. And obviously, you can tell this is different than Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin's kind of been doing one of these, and this has been doing one of those. So it's really cool to see this here. And Waves has a tremendous amount of volume too. So I want you to acknowledge, take a look at how much volume we see here. It's very synonymous with this type of behavior here as well. In fact, if not more, you see more volume now than he did before. That's an extremely good sign. That means more market adoption here for Waves, more accumulation of volume. Implies the likelihood of the breaking its all-time high here previously, right around $42 is a very close approximate, is extremely high considering the amount of volume going into it. Okay, so it does not look or feel like a pump and dump whatsoever, especially with how much consolidation we've had here. There's almost been a full 10 days of consolidation before today's leg up. And we can see here, of course, as well, a pretty consistent resistance level where the price would not be willing to close above that. So again, that's a pretty good sign here to tell us that, hey, there was probably basically a significant breakout. You can see almost a double pennant pattern here where the price action comes up and shoots straight up as a result of coming sideways for that time. So honestly, this is a very, very good indication that the price will probably continue at the very least sideways. If it were to retrace, $35 would probably be the lowest point in which it'll go because that was the most recent high. Okay, so again, right there is essentially what we could see as the lowest point. So all good stuff there. So now that we've established that, here's something that's also cool. And you see this a lot with coins. I talk about this quite frequently. RSI at 70 on the 1 day working as a support level. You see it came down, tested it right here, continued back up. Came down, tested it here, continued back up, and of course, test here, come back up again. So when you see an RSI coming down on the 1 day chart, and you see it coming down to test that level, if it stays above for at least one trading day, you can expect it to continue to move higher. That being said, this continuation pattern has been fantastic, is exuding all the right qualities here for a perfect continuation. We've got a nice steady staircase, and of course, enough time in between each leg up to allow for it to stay and maintain its level. So again, we got about 5 or 6 trading days here, 7 to 10 trading days there, and somewhere in the range of about 5 trading days here. Very, very healthy. Okay, so again, Waves is doing pretty much everything it needs to right now to show us that even though, yes, we had a potential divergence on the MACD, we're going to switch this around, turn around, and continue upwards to try to break our all-time high. So $42, I think, is just an inevitability at this point. And what will probably happen, too, is when it tests $42 roughly, what it'll do is it'll probably break above, come back down and test at a support level, and then hold there before it takes off again. And at that point, we'll be in price discovery. We'll look at that again later. We'll reestablish new Fibonacci retracement lines and essentially understand more about that when we get there. But for now, everything looks perfect on the 1 day. Let's look at the 4 hour here. Now, I don't traditionally love to see this much volume in one 4 hour time frame, but we can look at shorter time frames to identify. But we're above the 50-day SMA on the 4 hour and the 200. Extremely important to have that. That being said, if we are overextended, let's go ahead and take a look here. We are technically not, we're at a 5. Basically just meaning we had 4 hours of, four hour time frames, basically 16 hours worth of continuation, and then this last 4 hour time frame, very significant increase. So technically this is just getting started. We could potentially see another 4 4-hour candlesticks, basically another 16 to 24 hours of trading to the upside. Okay. So just keep that in mind. We're not in dire straits whatsoever. Everything's looking very good here. RSI is just barely peaking up over 70 on the 4 hour. I don't usually like to see that, but generally speaking, when you see a 70 plus on the RSI on the 4 hour, a pullback is usually following suit shortly after. And when I say shortly, we're talking this could come to its full 9 and then retrace, or it could retrace even now here soon to consolidate at the previous resistance, which is essentially $35 is a very round number. So 34.86 technically, but we'll just say 35 to keep it simple. Because you can see, look, the price comes up here, test, reject, test, reject, test, reject, and one more last rejection. So we're literally, this is the 5th and final push to the upside, and it gave it just enough, had that strength and volume to go ahead and push, and probably got some squeezes out as well, some short squeezes on waves. That being said, all good stuff here again as well for the 4 hours. So there's literally nothing adverse minus this little 3-hour push. And to me, once again, likelihood for pullback is greater based on that sentiment alone, right? Because this is what, how much of an increase? 20% in 3 hours? I think that's too much. Me personally, that's outside the standard deviation lines. In fact, why don't we take a look at the volume weighted average price and see? It's actually working within. And here's the cool thing about this. If you look at volume and kind of compare it, yes, we came outside these lines, but it's kind of correcting itself. But the general sense here is that based on the overall volume, we should be at $35, which is perfect because that's our previous support level. So that reiterates the fact that we have a strong support level at $35 based on the volume. And here's the reason why this is important though. A lot of coins will have this kind of parabolic increase with lack of volume. If you have a lack of volume, then these standard deviation lines are going to be lower, and you're going to be expecting more of a contraction, a pullback stronger. So based on the sentiment alone here, and the fact that we have a tremendous amount of volume in this push, really tells us that we have a greater potential to stay and maintain the current price point and go higher versus a strong pullback. Again, because we're well above that weighted average price of $35, and even though we're trending at about 38, we're not outside of those standard deviation lines. Again, all good stuff there in that sense too. TD sequential here on the 1 hour is at a 7, so just be mindful. 2 or 3 more hours of continuation of the upside is probable, but further continuation past that is less likely. All right. So again, I would speculate we're going to see some consolidation sideways at the current price point. Worst case, pull back to 35. Better case, trend upwards closer to 42. But all in all, really good stuff here. I mean, there's literally nothing that we could see. Look at that cloud. That's like a perfect iteration of where you want to just kind of be. Because look at that too. The cloud is actually consolidating right at 35 too. Man, there's just nothing adverse about this. This is literally all green lights here for waves. Am I telling you to take everything you got and put in here right now? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just telling you that if you're currently invested, you probably want to consider leaving it. If you want to add to your position, fine. I don't think it's going to skyrocket to the moon tomorrow, but in the relative near future, it's going to continue to make these nice continuation patterns to the upside. This nice healthy staircase that I just love to see. And I think it's just an inevitability to break its all-time high and then some here soon. So just keep that in mind. I think we're in good shape there. But by no means am I telling you to just go all in here. In fact, I never recommend that. If you've seen in my Trading Academy videos, you'll know that I like to kind of ensure that you dollar cost average, use less amounts and spread out your, make sure you diversify. We have a diversification portfolio that we kind of follow here, and it should be mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then maybe 50% altcoins. If you're at like a 90% altcoin portfolio, you're probably doing it wrong. Again, different strokes for different folks, but we want to make long-term investments here. This is investing. This is not gambling, right? You can gamble with small amounts of your money, but just don't do it with a lot. Anyways, cover all that stuff. We can cover that later. I appreciate you listening and watching and all the good stuff there. So thanks again for joining me here. If you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is the website. I look forward to working with you. Have yourself a great rest of your day.